On the island of Aruba, the only suspect in the disappearance of a 35-year-old American woman was released after 4 months in jail. Authorities on the island believe a man she met online, Gary Giordano, was involved in her disappearance. But as of tonight, there is still no body and no physical evidence. ABC's Matt Gutman had exclusive access to Giordano as he was released.
It was the moment Gary Giordano had waited for 116 days, the only suspect in the disappearance of Robin Gardner, now a free man. But even as he and his attorneys rolled out of the prison gates, they were swarmed by the media, blocking his car, peering inside. ABC News was there as Giordano arrived at this hotel, to the locals' angry taunts of murderer. Tonight, his first night out of a bathroom-sized cell he shared with 2 others for 17 hours a day. His first unmonitored and emotional call home to his 3 sons. And an embrace with the attorneys that helped secure his release. But that freedom could be fleeting.
If a new order for detention is given, we aim to file a request for Mr. Giordano's extradition with the U.S. authorities.
An arduous, months-long process that could begin as early as tomorrow when the Aruban High Court could decide to extend his detention. A move that will require extradition, as Giordano is expected to return to the U.S. tomorrow morning before the hearing. And for Giordano, the scramble off the island begins.
I'm relieved for him. Great injustice has been done here, and that is that a man's life has been turned upside down, his reputation destroyed, his business destroyed, his life completely derailed. I don't think he'll ever be able to put this behind him.
And choreographing it all, Jose Baez, the attorney who spearheaded Casey Anthony's acquittal, now gaining the release of another notorious suspect. He'd arrived on the island well past midnight last night, sitting down for a late-night interview.
It's been a fishing expedition, and it's time for them to cut bait.
Giordano arrived on this desert island on July 31st with Gardner, a woman he has described as a playmate rather than a lover. That night, the couple partied, as seen in these exclusive photos obtained by ABC News. 2 days later, this surveillance video shows them strolling towards this beach. They returned the next day, ate here at the Rum Reef restaurant. A waitress snapped these pictures of them. Then for 2 hours, the couple sits on this rocky outcrop as reenacted by police lookalikes in September. And Giordano says at this point they slip into the water to snorkel. This surveillance footage is the next we see of him. Investigators say he casually knocks on the restaurant's windows to seek help.
What Mr. Giordano has told us in the investigation is not true. His description of the situation is not in accordance with reality.
Giordano told investigators there was a sudden storm. He swam for his life. When he looked back, Gardner was gone.
We know that that day there was virtually no wind, there were no waves, and the current was practically nil.
But the absence of a body, a murder weapon, or even a solid motive hasn't dampened investigators' suspicion of Giordano. What they do have, they say, is a mountain of circumstantial evidence. Most critical, a $1.5 million travel insurance policy Giordano purchased for Gardner just the day before they left, naming himself the beneficiary.
The prosecutors had to come forward with something more, something additional to say, this is why we need to hold him again. And this time, they didn't have anything else that was new. I think the Aruban justice system is trying to say we're going to treat Gary Giordano the way we treat anyone else.
A case eerily similar in outcome to the disappearance of Natalie Holloway in 2005, another blonde American woman who vanished from this idyllic island. Joran van der Sloot, the man suspected of killing her, was released. He's now in prison in Lima, Peru, charged in the 2010 murder of a Peruvian woman. In contrast to van der Sloot's meandering and shifting story, Giordano's narrative has been vague but consistent, and authorities didn't have enough to hold him. Gardner's friends and family called for the investigation to continue, saying it's unlikely that Gardner would have gone snorkeling in the first place. Aruban authorities scheduled another hearing for tomorrow, with their prime suspect heading home. It's unclear they'll be able to compel American courts to send him back.
If the Aruban authorities are ready to move forward with a prosecution, and they have evidence against him, I think there's a good chance he'd be extradited. But if this is just an extradition so that he can sit in a jail cell, while they continue to investigate, it's going to be a tough argument.
Investigators here vow they won't rest until they unearth the truth about what really happened to Robin Gardner. But they seem no closer to finding that out than they were 4 months ago. I'm Matt Gutman for Nightline in Aruba.